Yeah, you bet. Good afternoon. Our guys are excited about this opportunity. It's one of the goals that we have in our program, and once we state that goal, it's about the work that goes into getting to this point. But we're looking forward to what we know is going to be a hard-fought contest against an extremely talented, physical Georgia team. One that we respect a lot, and just looking forward to this challenge. They've certainly, from their aspect, had a great hot run here, playing really good football, and our guys, I think, looking forward to this rematch from earlier in the season. It's been a while since we played them, but looking forward to this game over in Atlanta. Also want to note a couple things. C.J. Mosley, our legend, excited to have him there representing our program. Great career here, great career in the NFL, 10 years there. In the NFL, he's been around campus a number of times, getting a chance to meet with him. Just excited about him representing us and what he means to this place. Two notes also just from a injury report. We do have two players that have illnesses, medical issues, whatever you want to call it. LT Overton and Kelby Collins, they won't be available for this game. So with that, I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Coach. If you do have a question, please use the raise hand function. I will call on you, and then we'll need to unmute your line. We'll start with Colin Gay of the Tuscaloosa News. Colin.
Hey, Kalen. With LT being out, what do you, I guess, plan on, or who do you plan on inserting in that bandit spot? Kind of what's the idea there?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, throughout the year, we've rotated a lot across the board on our team, but defensively in particular. And so, the guys that have rotated with LT and, fortunately, Quay Rusaw also, when you talk about the edge position, he's played the last couple games, and so, we'll get more reps for him. He's ready for it. Yanze will continue to ramp up his load. And so, we have guys that have played a lot of snaps that will continue to, just play the role that they've been playing. Maybe a few more snaps, that they'll get.
Next question will come from Charlie Potter of Bama Online. Charlie?
Yeah, Coach, just sticking with the injuries, where do things kind of stand with Jam, Josh Cuevas, and Cam Dewberry?
Yeah, let's see, Jam, still questionable. We'll see here in the next couple of days. Cam Dewberry's coming along here as the week progresses. And Josh Cuevas, same as Jam, kind of see here at the end of the week. So, I know all those guys a couple of weeks down the road will be definitely good to go. But just kind of here, 1 week out from last week's game. And some of the injuries that have happened, we're not quite sure yet. So they're coming along, working, doing everything they can.
Okay, we'll now go to Jeff Spiegel from ABC 3340. Jeff, go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Yeah.
Kalen, you mentioned in the post-game locker room after the Iron Bowl that there's a difference between hope and belief. How strongly does this team just believe that, when it looks like the chips are down, they're going to get it done? And how important is that heading into this championship game?
Well, I mean, we've had enough opportunities, just like any SEC game, every single week. All these teams that you play as well are going to have the adversity. There's just too many talented players on the football field every single Saturday. There's going to be momentum swings, playmakers that can make plays. And I think what you really got to do is you got to, go back to what we've been talking about, working on since January, the training, and how that allows you to be physical on the football field, the stamina it takes, at this time of year. I feel like our guys are continuing trajectory up. They continue to get stronger. We have proof of that. We can see that, and they feel it on the football field. And then, there's a mentality that you're building, and some of it comes from the strength, and some of it comes from the stamina that these guys have. But it also comes from just a real belief that you have through reps that you've talked about. Situations from a year ago that we were in where, we've had a chance to learn from them. All of our experiences that have shaped what this team is and how we've come through only make us believe even more, give us that much more confidence. And so time and time again, it might not always be the end of the game. It might be earlier in a game where, end of the half, a 2-minute drive, the way, your defense gets a stop and the offense can go out there and put even just 3 points on the board, in our clutch period there. So just our guys, really, I think when you look at our team, it's a balanced team. It's a team that believes in each other. We understand our identity, being physically and mentally tough, and then also just winning the turnover margin. That's a big deal for us. And going out there and playing for 60 minutes. Our guys are going to leave it on the football field.
Our next question will come from Seth Emerson of The Athletic. Seth.
Hey, Kalen. In terms of playing a team twice in a season, obviously you did it 2 years ago at Washington. And I think you did it. I went all the way back to Sioux Falls a couple of times against Morningside, if I'm right on that. What are the dynamics there? And how does it matter in this game?
As a coordinator also at Fresno State, we played 2 years in a row. We played almost back-to-back games against Boise State.
Right.
And this one's a little different because the game happened so much earlier in the season. Most of those that you're referring to happened late, and then within a couple of weeks you were playing again. I think what you see between us and Georgia now, you see two teams that do what you need to do. You say it, but you do it. Doing it is the key, and that's improve each and every week. Learn from your mistakes. Understand your strengths. Develop players. There's new guys on both of our teams that are making plays that probably weren't as big a part of the game plan back in week 4, and so. That's a tribute to Coach Smart and what he does with his program, developing their players, and I know that's something we take a lot of pride in as well. So, you understand what that game was about, but you also understand more who you are now. There are things that you maybe tried or that that didn't go as well the first time around that you learn a lesson or two from. But there's an identity now, and you still got to do what you do. But it has changed some because it's 8 games since we played that one. So both teams have continued to evolve. Both teams have continued to improve.
Thanks.
Our next question will come from Nick Kelly of AL.com. Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Kalen, with some of the guys in the front 7 being out, what kind of role can Keon Keeley have, and how have you seen him develop throughout this season?
Yeah, guys like that, Keon continued to ramp up his role, someone who now, we've really put out there and have full trust in. And, he's got full trust and belief along with his teammates and what he can do for us too. So, all those guys are more than capable, and they're going to get their opportunity.
Next question will come from Max Cohen of WAAY TV.
Coach, I'm wondering, with everything that's on the line this week, how much does this feel like a playoff game?
Well, we're just focused on it being the SEC championship and what that means to our program. You start the season, and this is best conference in college football, and to be playing in this game, I tell our guys they earned this. We're the home team, the number 1 seed, and so for us, they earned every bit of this opportunity. A great challenge ahead of us for sure, but man, this is what our program's been built on, is winning championships, and it starts with an SEC championship, and so it's a long road to get to this spot, to be again 7-1, really 2 points away from being 8-0, and that's the way we look at it, and just guys are excited to go really try to attack one of the goals that we had from the beginning.
Next question will be from Katie Wyndham of Bama Central. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, hey Kalen. There were several times in the Iron Bowl where either the clock ran really close to running out or that y'all were forced to take timeouts. Just kind of how much freedom do y'all give Ty in changing the plays, making checks as the clock's winding down? Or is there kind of an ideal time that y'all would like him to kind of, or the offense to have the play set by?
I think a lot of it is when you're on the road and the environments, and we went 4-0 on the road, and I think that was probably a common theme is the clock gets a couple seconds lower because the communication and the movement of the quarterback to have to really get up in each lineman's ear. You can't just say something and guys hear it. You got to give the signals, making sure and double checking to make sure everyone's on the same page. It does wind the clock down a little bit further, but he's got full, we give him full reign to get what he needs to get to. He's got a high football IQ, and we don't ever want him taking a snap that he's not comfortable with someone, not being on the same page with him. So that happens a little bit more on road games, but we do shift in motion. We do huddle, and, we have the ability to play faster, but, all those things lend to the play clock coming down. And that's part of who we are. We've won the time of possession, and I think our average is well over 33 minutes. That's team football. And, controlling the football, taking care of it. That's what Ty and our offense, do to help support the defense. And the defense, of course, doing their thing to support the offense.
And if you have a question, use the raise hand function, and we will get to your question. Next, we'll go to Joe Gaither of Bama Central. Joe?
Coach, given the recent history between both these programs, how do you assess the mental aspect of this game?
Well, you wouldn't have got to this pot if you weren't mentally strong, and again, I know what I believe in our team and the mental strength that we have and just how we feel like we can overcome, whatever's in our way. And, the things that come along with these, 60-minute heavyweight fights, we understand it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war against Georgia. It always is. But that's, again, we understand that they wouldn't have got to this spot if they weren't mentally tough and have that resiliency as well. So it's just too hard of a season to go through to get to this point. There's things beyond just executing. There's moments in games that you had to overcome, and you got two teams here right now that have done exactly that. Are the best in the country when it comes to it.
Next, we'll go to Anthony Dasher of UGAsports.com.
Hey, Coach, being that Alabama and Georgia are both dealing with some pretty significant injuries for this game and the league going to 9 games next year, is there a concern that the injury situation may be worse moving forward for games like this?
Yeah, that's above me right now. There's nothing that I can do with controlling that. A couple weeks off after this game at the least will be extremely helpful for us. But right now we're extremely excited to be heading over to Atlanta. I know where I'll be Saturday, and our guys will be fired up to play this game. But, those type of conversations and things and decisions are certainly beyond me and, anything that I feel.
Okay, Coach, and next we'll go to Matt Stahl of AL.com. Matt?
Hey, Kalen, are you expecting it to be a longer-term issue with either LT or Kelby, or would you expect them to be back for the remainder of the postseason?
I'm just trying to get through these next couple of days here and kind of see. Obviously, Kelby's just popped up here too. I know LT's yesterday, so just trying to get through this weekend and kind of see where that's at, and we'll understand more details when that time comes.
Next, we'll go to Charlie Potter of Bama Online.
Yeah, Coach, I know this is a little off topic, but since we're all here for 30 minutes, just what do you think when people link you to the Penn State job and say that you and your family aren't happy at Alabama?
Yeah, we are extremely happy at Alabama. It's the first time I've been asked, so I appreciate you, Charlie. And we are extremely happy here. Love the challenge, love the grind, love this place. And there's never been any link. There's never been any conversation. There's never been any interest either way. And so I'm glad we can put that to bed right now.
Next, we'll go to Max Cohen, WAAY TV. Max?
But you've mentioned a couple times in recent weeks going back to that Florida State game and how the team's grown. I'm wondering, from your standpoint, emotionally, what it was like after that game and how things feel now heading into the SEC championship and looking at the playoff.
Are you referring to the Iron Bowl?
Yeah, when you talked about after the Iron Bowl going back to the Florida State game and how the team's grown. I'm wondering, when you look back at the beginning of the season, emotionally, from your standpoint, where did things look then and how do things look now?
Yeah, at that time, I knew that this is just one of those challenges. And, those are the things that when you've coached long enough, you've been through. Now you just got to do it with this team. And this particular team, I knew the character of it. I knew it just really had to hone in on the right things and keep taking the steps. Knew there was talent and knew there was guys that, were still, either coming back off of things where they weren't playing full speed and they would get to that point. And there was also a lot of young talent that really we knew we were going to have to tap into and continue to develop. Guys that we were excited about, knew we had to have on the football field that could help maximize what we're capable of. But you're right. I mean, I think the mental piece, that's a lot of it. And again, that's what you go through in the SEC. That's what it will be each and every year. It will present itself in different ways, but it's what you got to overcome, and you got to be built for it. You got to be built for it to lead. You got to be built for it to be able to go out there and play. Our guys, had an edge, had a chip on their shoulder. A lot of the doubters that continue to maybe even doubt what this team is, even though we are in the SEC championship. These guys thrive in that. They thrive off of that because they know that they're capable. That gives them the confidence. They just know they got to continue each and every day to put in the work, go out there and keep getting better.
For those on the Zoom, if you have a question, use the raise hand function. We will call on your name and then ask you to unmute your line. Coach, we do have a question from the chat. This being your first experience competing in the SEC championship game, but certainly you've seen this game throughout the years. What have been your impressions of the SEC championship game as you've watched it through the years?
Yeah, this is the game. This is the one. When it comes to what you're trying to do when you set out at the beginning of the season, you're first trying to get to this one. This is going to set up what lies ahead in the future with the playoffs. When you're asking the question, I think about going way back, small college days, playing a semifinal game usually on this Saturday. Enjoying that victory, knowing a couple weeks down the road you're playing in a championship, but going home that night and relaxing and watching this game. This was the one. All eyes are on the SEC championship this time of year.
Thank you, Coach. Now we'll go to TXAN 24 News. Go ahead.
Yes, Coach. How important is it for recruiting to still be on television and playing into December, whereas teams may not be on TV, and using that as a recruiting mechanism?
Yeah, I think just generally speaking, our brand is, that strong, and we continue. The attention that you continue to get always helps. With the signing class, for the most part, being pretty much locked in now after yesterday, and there certainly will be more things as we get to the transfer portal and such. It matters. Because guys want to go to places where they can experience, this opportunity, go experience being the best at the pinnacle of college football. And so, this is a big deal. It's a big deal. A lot of eyes. And, again, showing that we can continue on with the tradition, the pride of this program, carrying on what so many other greats, coaches, Coach Saban, and those that came before him, all the great players, what they've laid for a foundation that we can continue to build, continue to grow, continue to add on to the legacy of those that came before us. I take a lot of pride in that, and thankful to our players for what they've put into this season to make it that.
We have time for a few more. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function, and we will call on you and then ask you to unmute your line. And let's go to Joe Gaither of Bama Central. Joe?
Coach, how do you respond to maybe the narrative that Alabama has to win this game to stay in the playoff field?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of hit on that, earlier in the week after our game. But, it kind of blows my mind, as that's the exact words I used before, that we're really having this debate. I don't say that with any arrogance, because I understand there's a lot of good football teams out there. But we earned getting to this point. We're 4-1 against ranked teams. I mean, we're 2 points away from being 5-0 against ranked teams throughout the year. Every A4 team except for Wisconsin that we played this season, before, during, or after us, was ranked. And again, a 7-1 record, almost 8-0, 2 points from being 8-0. 4-0 on the road in the SEC. That jumps out at me. That's hard to do in the environments. Our guys have been tested, and teams coming off buys. I mean, it doesn't matter. There's our guys have been tested, and we get to this point. We are playoff ready. We are focused on this game. We have not had one conversation about that, but we want to take care of business this Saturday and enjoy, again, the opportunity that lies right in front of us to play in the SEC championship.
We have time for a couple more questions. Coach, we do have one from the chat. What would your message to the selection committee be regarding the overall strength of schedule and the depth of the SEC?
I hit on a few of the pointers just there. I think when it comes down to, let's just use the last week's game, a rivalry game. Not all 5 and 7 teams are built the same. A team like Auburn, and let's go again, I think we should be highlighting the games that we did win against the ranked teams. I already did that. But even last week's game, they were a team that had been, I think they had 7 losses. All 7 of those games in the SEC were within 1 score. I think 6 ended up being 1 score or less, in all of their losses. And so, again, when you talk about the SEC, what the grind is each and every week, it stacks upon itself. Just the toughness that it brings out in you and forces you to have. There's no league like it, and it's it's just something that's facts. And so to be at the spot where we're at, again, 7-1 in the league, 10-2. I mean, overall, just speaks to our football team and the quality of it. I think we're, when I look at our football team, and to really get into it, I see us as a balanced team. We have an offense and defense that play off each other. I mean, our defense is a championship caliber with any defense out there across the country, and our offense controls the football, takes care of business, comes up with the big scores. Last week, again, we put up as many points as really almost anyone did, and I'm just, again, using a rivalry game, using the last game we played. Running the football. People have hit us on that. And people running the football, we've done it as good in the last 2 conference games as anyone else has, that have played. So I think in the top 3 in those opponents that have faced Oklahoma and Auburn. So we can go on and on, but I think you just really look at the league we're in, that we're in this game. It is what it is. And so we're going to love the opportunity we get to play on Saturday.
Coach, one final question from the chat. A lot of talk about the CFP rankings. What would winning a conference championship mean to your team to be able to lift that trophy on Saturday night? Does the conference championship still resonate with players today?
Oh, this is a huge deal for us. Again, all the questions that are getting asked about the playoffs, we are completely focused on the excitement of playing for the SEC championship, because that's, again, the epitome of all championships, and just excited about, what this means to our program, how important it is, and wanting to carry on the tradition of what's been done in the past. Again, we know we got a great challenge with a really good Georgia team, and a ton of respect to them. So that makes it even all the more worth everything that we're fighting for.
Coach DeBoer, thank you for your time this afternoon. Good luck. We'll see you here in Atlanta.
Awesome. Thank you. Roll Tide.